Oh, hi, Butch. Alright, hey guys, Blood Moon Bobby here, and this is my second recording of this, but I'm sorry it took me so long to come back to Butch Hartman because I've been really busy with my Comic-Con trailer discussions over the last week. There was one day I went up to Gabby's house, and then we found out that they didn't release many Comic-Con trailers the day we went, so we spent the last week finishing up the trailers we wanted to see. You guys can check most of them out on my YouTube channel. As of the recording of this video, I still have yet to edit my Star vs. the Force of Evil trailer reaction, which by the time you see this Butch Hartman video, it should be out already, but that's just where I've been. There was one day this week where I had to go out of town, and so it's just been really crazy for me, but I spent the last several days taking notes about what's been going on with Butch Hartman, and I think, to be fair, since I'm coming out with this video days after everybody is starting to calm down with Oaxis, I think, it kind of helps me out. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, I think the biggest news of the last week is that, miraculously, Butch Hartman has reached his Kickstarter goal. Originally, he was trying to raise $250,000 to fund his Oaxis streaming service, and he has actually raised $268,134, which I kind of speculated might have been helped by how he had this video where he said he was going to delete it in 24 hours, kind of clickbaity if you ask me, and, basically saying, hey, please donate to my Kickstarter. And I know there's skeptics out there that are wondering, how did he go from $200,000 to $268,000 in the span of a day? But that's really speculatory stuff. I really can't confirm anything on that. But after the Kickstarter was funded, there were a lot of details that came out about Butch and about the Oaxis streaming service, and I even found some things in my own research, and some of it is thanks to this really great person on Twitter, this guy S4 Spectre. Thank you so much for giving me some of the information that I'm about to present. But before I get into the whole social media outrage, I'll go into my own sort of discoveries. I was going around Butch Hartman's Facebook page, and when I found that a lot of the details of Oaxis he's actually giving away in his Facebook live streams, and I find that incredibly unprofessional. Because when you run a business, you should be putting out information about your service in social media posts or press releases. You shouldn't be burying them in live streams, which are very difficult to find. And most of the time when Butch gives away this information, it's usually in the form of whenever somebody asks him a question or when he wants to give away details. So I found in his live streams that in one of them, he showed off an Oaxis app prototype, and it was basically just Oaxis running on his smartphone, and it's got some little placeholder blocks, and he showed what it's going to look like, which I imagine is probably going to piss off a lot of people, because Butch was really emphasizing that he needed the $250K to just build the foundation of his service. So the fact that he was able to get a prototype, I even have one of my commenters was just suspicious in the fact that Oaxis has its own website, oaxis.tv. So I think showing that prototype is going to make a lot of people suspicious. His wife Julianne also mentioned an Oaxis Awards, which, as I kept saying through my coverage of the Oaxis service, I find things like that very presumptuous. It's just like thinking about the possibilities without taking a step back to first think about how Oaxis, is it going to be successful or not? And in another live stream, he mentioned that his new content will roll over into Oaxis, which kind of goes with what I was saying before about how I think he should have just rebranded Nuke into Oaxis. So he's kind of doing that, just in terms of he's putting his new content in a new home. So that's what I think. And so I think the run of it is just, I really wish Butch would give out a lot of this information in press releases and on things like his website, his Kickstarter, his social media pages. Because when you have to dig through live streams like that, it really just makes you wonder, are you just hoping your super fans that'll watch every single minute? And yes, I know you need to research as much as possible, but you should also make your information readily available, not in a way where you have to go out of your way just to know some details about a Kickstarter. or a streaming service, I should say. But then there comes some details or information about Butch that people have found out that are making a lot of people start to panic. Now, some of the information, I agree, is some really sketchy stuff. If anything, a lot of it has dampened my opinion, not just on Oaxis, but also Butch Hartman. And some of it, I think, a lot of people panicked. I know there's people that just put 2 and 2 together, and that's how they came to their conclusions, but there are actually some reputable YouTubers out there that I'm still a big fan of that were making it sound like a lot of the stuff was confirmed true. But let's go through the stuff that I found that was really damaging to me. And like I said before, S4 Spectre helped me find a lot of this information. Thank you so much. So the first thing that came out, as I'm looking down on my laptop to look at my notes, because I have quite a bit of information on pretty much everything I'm talking about this video. There was actually a Let's Play that Butch was doing where he basically said that if you're not in the animation industry, you can't criticize him. And I think for me, this is just scraping the surface as far as what I mean when I said my opinion on Butch is dampened. Because in my opinion, when you say things like, you know, oh, I'm not going to take criticism, then what are you going to do when Oaxis starts up and you're going to have a lot of skeptics? If anything, don't you want to pick up criticism so people can tell you what their concerns are about Oaxis, or if there are ways that people think you can improve upon? When you just shut away people like that, when you say, oh, if you're not in the animation industry, you can't criticize me, you're basically just alienating your audience. You know, if people can't, you know, address their problems to you. And the other thing was that there was actually a podcast where he joked that the actor Tara Strong may have been responsible in Mary Kay Bergman's death, because Bergman was actually supposed to be the voice of Timmy Turner. And yeah, that definitely really turned me up. And if anything, and I think I'll talk about this more in this video, it kind of gives an insight into Butch's ignorance towards issues like mental health, because in case you didn't know, Mary Kay Bergman committed suicide. And see the other one, there was also this retweet that S4 Spectre sent me from Pie Guy Rules, where Pie Guy Rules, and I shouldn't laugh because this is really serious stuff, got word from somebody that actually funded Oaxis, where he tried to get, after finding out some information about Butch, he tried to get a refund from him, and Kickstarter basically said, we can't refund the money, you have to go straight to Butch. And you know, that's not, there's probably a less than likely chance that he's going to get his money back if he has to go through Butch. But I think the video that made a lot of people panic, and admittedly it made me initially panic until I actually saw the video, was there was a seminar Butch gave, and he was constantly mentioning God and how his cartoons have always had the gospel in him. And a lot of people took that, combined with how Butch admittedly has been pretty vague about Oaxis in terms of what's going to be in it, as, oh my god, Oaxis is, it's going to be a Christian in streaming service. He's going to forcibly convert your kids to Christianity, and it's not going to be the good kind of Christianity. It's going to be very extremist beliefs, and that definitely had a lot of people up in arms. I will say, in that particular video, I watched it twice, once by myself and once with my sister, just to make sure I wasn't totally losing my mind. Butch didn't actually outright say Oaxis is going to be a Christian streaming service. He did say that we're going to speak to our audience in parables. But much of the video is pretty much what we already know. Much of the information he said is what he already said in his Kickstarter. And that, oh, we're going to have dramas, comedies. I'm gonna let people upload their videos. There's also some pretty demeaning stuff in that video where he talked about his views on media, and as I was saying before, he mentioned how, oh, growing up, suicide was not an issue, wasn't even a thought, which I can tell you, I had depressed family members, like a very severely depressed family member, Butch, around the time you were growing up, so you really need to rethink how you perceive mental health. But I'm not going to get into much of the details, only because so many YouTubers have already beaten that video to death. But I kind of just took that video as information we already knew. What's damning to me, and no pun intended, was Butch actually was interviewed on this Christian TV network, Daystar, which I'm sort of familiar with. I remember when I was a kid and we first got digital TV, Daystar was one of the digital channels, and I didn't really watch. But I think what's damning to me is that's a sign of you going after a very particular audience, okay? You're not just, like, going after, you know, typical Christians. Because, like, I don't even think, like, my Christian friends would even want to watch Daystar, to be quite honest. Like, you know, they're not that hardcore religious, but it's just telling me the kind of audience you're going for. You're going for a super dedicated Christian audience. And again, I have nothing against Christians. I have some really great friends that are Christians, including my friend Shin, who you've seen do videos with. And I even went to lunch with him and his friends from church, and they're really cool people. One of them wants to be a film director. But I think for me, it really does show a sign of what you were going for, Butch. You know, you didn't just go on mainstream media. You didn't go on Good Morning America with your family and saying, hey, we want you guys to fund our Kickstarter. You went to a very Christian TV network to go after that audience. And I think for me, that was a very telling sign. And the other thing I think that was kind of revealing is another tweet from S4 Spectre, where he showed the screenshot that Trayfon, the Rise and Fall Nickelodeon got, where Awestruck Vox apparently found these screenshots of Butch liking videos that were very anti-SJW. There was also apparently a video Butch liked where it was making fun of or getting reactions from people when President Trump won the election. And that kind of stuff, I'm not really sure. Awestruck Vox is a really cool guy from the round table, but I don't really want to get into that. But I think that kind of thing, combined with how Butch, because the thing about Butch in his live streams is he was like very about, you know, thanking God, and God wants Oaxis to happen and so forth, and mentioning God way, way more than I think a lot of my Christian friends will want to hear. And it's just, I think combined with that and with how Butch was very vague about what kind of content. Yes, I know he did say in his Kickstarter that Oaxis is going to have dramas, comedies, gardening shows, and the user upload feature, but he was very vague about where he was going to get that content, and I felt he was making a lot of these empty promises because, you know, he just had so much confidence in Oaxis. And can I just say one thing about how I know what it's like to have so much confidence in something you create. You know, I get that kind of feeling all the time when I used to write like Star Wars The Force of Evil fan fiction in terms of, oh, this is going to be so good. I hope so many people read that. But after you have so many hopes and then you try putting that into practice, yes, you have successes, but you have just as many times where your project falls through and it's not as successful as you hoped, or it doesn't even come out the way you like. So you would think with Butch having created 4 Nickelodeon shows and having so much experience in the animation industry, he wouldn't have fallen into that sort of thing where he's, you know, boasting about it. He even said in that seminar video that we're going to create content that wins awards, even though it sounds like you didn't even write the script. I just find it really kind of, you know, I just thought that Butch was really bragging and boasting and just, do you even know if Oaxis is going to be a success? And that's the kind of thing that I thought was really eye-rolling. Now, ever since then, I would say days after people were panicking, oh my god, Oaxis is going to be a Christian streaming service, he did come out with an apology, even though in my opinion he should have come out with this apology the day after people were like, Oaxis is going to be a Christian streaming service. And the apology, which I'll read to you, I think I'll be able to include it in this video because it's a picture that I got from Butch Hartman's Twitter. And it says, "Hey Hart fans, I am humbled by the kindness and love that Hart fans and friends have shown in recent days. There are simply no words to express my thanks and gratitude. I'm sorry for any confusion that you may have felt in the last week. Thank you for your patience. All I've ever wanted to do is entertain people with programming the entire family can enjoy, and in keeping with that theme, that's what my most recent project is about. There have been others who think they've revealed another agenda. I'll get into that part. That kind of pisses me off. And honestly, I value and respect my fans and friends far too much to ever consider misleading you. Okay? I would take the privilege of your trust, or I would never take the privilege of your trust lightly. Oaxis Entertainment is not faith-based, however, faith is a part of me. I am the same guy I've been for the last 20 years. I'm not perfect and certainly don't claim to be. I'm excited for what's moving forward with this project. Hopefully it's something you'll really enjoy too. We can discuss all of this, the Twitterverse, YouTube, and more in the coming days. You are the best, and I'm genuinely thankful for each and every one of you. Butch. There's also a hidden message in there, but I feel like that's kind of been talked about. I may put some kind of lower third mention of what that hidden message is here, but it's not, for me, it's kind of stating the obvious. Do I buy this apology from Butch? Kinda, sorta, not really. I know, because here's the thing. I know, like, Velasky Bum doesn't buy this apology at all, and Noah, which I gotta disagree with him. Like, you know, he was saying, and Noah was actually one of the first YouTubers I heard from that, where he uploaded a clip from that seminar, and he got his video, he got acclaim from Butch, and Noah was basically saying, hey, come on, everybody has an ego, and let's all forgive Butch, which I understand, yes, everybody, you know, feels proud about their projects, but when their ego is balloons to, like, the size of Canada, nothing against Canada, I'm just saying it's a really big country, it's just like, a person with that big of an ego needs to take 10 or even 100 steps back, you know, so I think the part where I'm very suspicious about Butch, and I'll get into this other thing that S4 Spectre told me about, is in the apology, Butch says, there have been others who think they've revealed another agenda, and honestly, I value and respect my fans and friends far too much to ever consider misleading you. But YouTubers like Pyga Rules, Trayfon, Blasibum, it's not that they're proud they unveiled a new agenda. It's that they're concerned with how vague you've been and how you're constantly mentioning God so many times and how you're saying things like, oh, God wants this live stream to happen. He wants this. He has chosen me. And things like that. They're scared that you're gonna, like, mislead people into thinking this is going to be a Christian streaming service. Now, you did say in this letter that it's not going to be, and I personally, that's the one part that I will give you credit on, and that I don't think it will be a totally Christian streaming service. But it's not that YouTubers like that are proud they unveiled an agenda. They're concerned. There's a huge difference, dude. Like, don't be in the mentality that, I'm sure you have people who legitimately hate you and hate Oaxis. I even heard that Butch has been getting death threats. That kind of thing, that needs to stop, okay? If I have subscribers, I know I'm not a big channel by any means, but I know a lot of people that are interested in Butch watch these videos. Please, do not send Butch any death threats or even wish that something bad happens to him. We don't need that. That gives him fuel into saying, you know, hey, I have all these critics and you're not going to knock me down. So please, like, I don't know for a fact if I have any trolls, any subscribers that are trolls, but it's just for anybody that is, like, sending him death threats or wishing him the worst, you need to stop, okay? That's not going to stop his Oaxis Kickstarter. If anything, it makes Butch more and more ignorant. But I think that's the thing that really bothers me. There's also the part where Butch says, I value and respect my fans and friends far too much to ever consider misleading you, even though I'm being super vague and maybe without knowing yet, Butch is being really egotistical and over-promising and just saying, oh, Access, my program is going to win awards and so forth. So where exactly does all this leave us in terms of Oaxis? So is Butch doing a Christian streaming service? I don't think he is. However, and my sister Penny brought this up, especially with how he seems to be getting support from a lot of really hardcore Christians and the fact that he got interviewed on Daystar. I wouldn't be surprised if he did have some faith-based shows like You know, not the kind of, you know, but I mean like really hardcore Christian stuff, which, you know, personally I'll be okay with as long as it's not discriminatory content. But I still wish Butch would at least, if there is going to be Christian content, I wish like he would just include it, because whether or you like it or not, I'm just thinking, wouldn't you also want to let your Christian fans know that, hey, there's going to be content for you as well on this streaming service I'm working on? So there's that. I don't think it's going to be faith-based, but I wouldn't call out of the question if he has some really hardcore Christian content, especially to keep such supporters at bay. But what I really think the problem with Butch is that he's in a very tight spot, and he's got a bag of shitty PR on him because of how egotistical and how he's not very open to criticism. If anything, even if we didn't find out, or even if people didn't speculate that, oh my god, Oaxis is going to be Christian service, I would still have lost a little faith in Butch, because as a person who's dealt with some really egotistical person in my life, both in my family and those outside of my family, I honestly don't have much tolerance for that. You know, when you go on and say things like how, oh, I created your childhood, even though the majority of people's childhoods, in terms of the cartoons they watch, were probably formed by many, many people. You know, I even had a tweet where I listed some animators, and I can't, like, even if I tried listing them, I know I would forget some. So, you can't say something like that, Butch. And now you're just seen as a really egotistical guy who can't take criticism. I think between now and when Oaxis launches, because I reported in my last video that Oaxis is set to launch in 2019, you're gonna have to do a lot of convincing, and you're going to have to evolve your personality. You have to become somebody that's a lot more open-minded, a lot more accepting to criticism, and just not shoot people down. And that, and also, you know, if you could be a little more clear about things, I think that could really help you, because that one apology letter is not going to be enough to convince people. It's certainly not convincing everybody that, oh, Oaxis is going to be a really, really great service. If anything, there's people out there like Pie Guy Rules and Velasquez Bum, and even myself were very mixed on that, because people can definitely change. I'm a person who definitely wants to do a lot more work. I know I need to be a lot more confident person, and I want to improve my PR skills. Like, we all want to change. I know that's well and clear, and I'm definitely one for second chances. I honestly can't stand people who are just like, oh, that's how they are, they can never change. Because I've changed myself so much in the last several years through my experiences in high school and college in ways that I couldn't even imagine several years ago. But with any change in personality or shrinking of ego and that kind of thing, it takes time. It's going to take, you know, a lot of steps proving in Butch that you can change, and that in order for people to be convinced to support your Oaxis streaming service. And to be really fair, you're not exactly doing the best job. In fact, S4 Spectre informed me he got another tweet from Trayfon, or he retweeted another tweet from Trayfon saying, if you have Butch Hartman related videos on your Google Drive, you're going to get a DMCA claim. So you're not doing the best job convincing people. If you think that just one apology letter is going to convince people to support Oaxis, you're going to have to do a lot more between now and then. I'm not saying we have to judge Oaxis now. I'm not even saying things like, oh, we have to shut down on Oaxis, or that Butch Hartman needs to shut it down, because yes, we should be judging Oaxis as a service when it comes out. But we're just saying that it seems up to now, Butch Hartman's personality, we're finding out, is more flawed than we may have first imagined. Not that Butch was in a really good spot before Oaxis, or even before he left Nickelodeon, because I know he was getting flack for his cartoons and how Fairly Odd Parents has been around too long, and there's people that have said that in Fairly Odd Parents, all the women are nags and all the men are a bunch of idiots. Which, I actually watched the Valentine's Day episode of Fairly Odd Parents, and while I don't quite see it that way, the way I see it is, you know, he kind of over stereotypes women as being all fancy, and all the men are very sloppy people that enjoy sports, and it's just, we can go to the bathroom wherever we want, but I'm going off on a tangent. So I think between now and then, if you want people to continue to support Oaxis, Butch, you're going to have to convince us between now and when it launches that you can change, that you are more open to listening to people so that Oaxis can succeed. Because right now, you're not in a good spot, and if anything, me personally, I'm a lot more skeptical than I was before. So, but please, let me know your thoughts. Do you think Butch Hartman can change? Do you still have faith in Oaxis? No pun intended. Or do you think it's a total bust? Please let me know your thoughts. I really do enjoy reading your comments about the whole Oaxis matter. And this has been Blood Moon Bobby, and thank you all for watching. Hey guys, be sure to like this Blood Moon Bobby video if you enjoyed it. Please share this video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment. Be sure to ring the notification bell to be notified about my latest upload. Follow me on my social media pages at Blood Moon Bobby to find out about what I'll be covering next and for more of my opinions. Thanks for watching.